Hey, I'm Ryan Nepton, and this is how to really carve part 6, I think. So today what I'm going to teach is kind of the way I think of it, of applying different amounts of pressure on your board to get really dynamic. So say if I'm doing really big carves across, knees normally bent, bent ass normal, across, I'm maybe like, putting one, if I'm just standing here, I'm at 1 G's. So during a carve, maybe there's a little more pressure around the turn, and maybe I'm at 1.2 G's. And those are great and all, and you need to be able to do those first. But so what she's doing right there, that'd be like 1 G. She's cutting across, Kristen's just cutting across. But yeah, so if I'm going to demonstrate some big turns like that, where I'm just doing 1 G. But then the trick to like really getting super dynamic is bending your knees crazy amounts, and then you have all that kind of lateral motion that you can play with, and you can get your board way out to your edge, way out to the sides of you a lot quicker, and it just makes your turns dynamic and way fun. It's just a totally different game than only forcing 1 G of turns. So let's go make a couple of these turns and see what I'm talking about. Big across, knees bent, big across. I'm at like 1.2 G's turning, 1.2 G's, and then easing off 0.8 maybe, 1.2. Alright, so those turns are nice and all, but to really get the board just feeling awesome, I almost think about it like using my metal edges into the snow and making a roller coaster out of the groomed run. And by doing that, like if I'm doing that, that's a pretty lame roller coaster. To get really dynamic with it, I almost think about just jumping into my turn and really just jamming a bunch of pressure into the edge, and that decambers the board and makes the turning radius narrow, and it's a quick little thing where all of a sudden you'll spike up to a couple of G's at once, and then you might even get 0 G's by springing out of those turns, because your board will be decambered and want to flex back into its normal shape and give you a lot of energy back, especially with cambered boards. So now I'm gonna make some more turns. I'll start with a couple big ones like that, but then I'm really going to start getting wild with how much, with the forces that I apply to the board, and then in turn I'm going to get a bunch of G's out of it, and yeah, just turn this mountain into my own little roller coaster that I get to make the track on. Let's rock and roll. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. You get a nice workout doing that, but it's just a lot funner than just kind of being static on your board. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to show is really bending the knees and being able to apply those various degrees of pressure. So I'm going to start with just, standard knees, just normally bent, and there's not too much possible. But if you almost are squatting down, all of a sudden you can extend your legs on either side of you and really let the board like just do a heck of a lot more range of motion around you. But it all stems from bending your knees like an excessive amount, not just a little bit. So we got an opening here. I'm gonna flip the camera, watch my knees. The first ones will be just kind of regular old turns, and then I'll start to really loosen up with it. Get low and get crazy with the turns. Alright, so I think that probably showed it, and now I'll play around with even more. I'll go from like some really big turns and then do some quick little ones, and just, make this run my little roller coaster here by using my metal edges. So I will wait here, let some people pass. This guy's stopping, so maybe I'll go now. That's where it's at though. Getting dynamic with the turns and really applying various degrees of pressure on them to achieve the track that you want. Try that out. And if you're a beginner, take a lesson. You might just still be working on garlands. But if you're beyond that point, really driving the knees down, getting low, will allow your turns to get a lot more dynamic and fun. Thanks for watching, and happy shredding. And Kristen is kind enough, she's going to tape a couple of more of my turns that will show it from a different camera angle. Everyone say thanks, Kristen. Thanks, Kristen.